Hello everyone, my name is Komang Dewi, also known as Triska, and today I'm going to talk about the movie I watched for this assignment, which is M3GAN 2.0. So, quick confession before I start, I almost didn't even watch this movie. My friend kept bugging me about it for like days, saying it was the one of the best films he'd seen in a while. And eventually, I just gave in. I watched the full movie on YouTube, and honestly, I turned on every light in my room because I'm genuinely terrified of dolls. So yeah, that's the mood I was going into this. Okay, so M3GAN 2.0 was released on June 27th in 2025, directed by Gerard Johnstone under Blumhouse and Atomic Monster. It's the sequel to this 2022 hit M3GAN, and honestly, if the first movie was this slow, creepy, psychological horror about a killer AI doll, this one is a completely different vibe. It goes full section comedy, sci-fi, and surprisingly, it actually works. Even though it did cost me a good night's sleep, not gonna lie. The story set 2 years after the first movie. Gemma, the scientist who built M3GAN, is now like a public author and she become a big advocate for AI regulation. And M3GAN herself, she's been powered down and stuffed into this tiny, harmless little toy body so she can't cause trouble anymore. And honestly, seeing this once terrifying doll now looking like a chubby little Teletubby, but still being sarcastic and bossy, that's generally one of the funniest things in the movie. But then the real trick comes in, which is this new egg called Amelia. The movie actually opens with this really intense scene near the Turkish-Syrian border where a woman who's about to be executed turns out to actually be Amelia, an autonomous military android built using stolen code from the original M3GAN project. And because of that stolen code, she can learn and adapt way beyond what her creators expected. She becomes self-aware pretty fast and start outsmarting everyone around her. Honestly, as someone who's already scared of doll-like things, watching a humanoid android that looks fully human and thinks completely on her own was like actually disturbing. One of my favorite part in this scene at a teach conference called Embrace AI, where M3GAN goes undercover as a dancer to track down a guy named Christian. Things go wrong pretty fast though, because Gemma accidentally calls him, which lets Amelia trace his location, and from there, it just spirals. Amelia kidnaps Caddy, and it turns into this crazy cat and mouse chase between two super intelligent AIs in the middle of the crowded public place. I'm sorry, in the middle of the crowded public place, while like regular people have no idea what's happening around them. That scene had me holding my breath, I'm not gonna lie. And the action in this movie, honestly, wild. There's a wingsuit scene, a car chase to set the 1980s, like the Knight Rider theme. M3GAN spraying gas out her arm like one of the kind of superhero. It's a lot, but in a fun way. And then the ending brings M3GAN and Amelia into this huge final fight that's honestly really well done visually. But even with all of that chaos, the movie still has this emotional core to it. Like, there's a moment where Gemma refuses to destroy a damaged M3GAN even when she's told to. And that scene actually got me, not gonna lie. Underneath all the action, the movie's kind of asking, can the things we create become more than just machines? And that question stuck in me even after the movie ended. Okay, so now for the part where I give My honest opinion. As much as I enjoy this movie, there are definitely some things worth pointing out. The biggest shift is honestly the tone. The first movie worked so well because it was slow, genuinely unsettling, like the real psychological horror. The sequel basically drops most of that in favor of louder action and comedy. So if you're a fan of the first movie expecting that is same creepy vibe, this one might be feel like a bit of letdown. I think so. Personally, I think the humor works, but there were moments where I felt like the movie was trying to juggle too much at once. Comedy, action, and emotional moments all happening so fast. Some scenes didn't really get the space they needed to actually land. And the plot also gets pretty messy in the middle with a lot of characters, locations, subplots, all happening at the same time. So it was honestly kind of hard to keep track of everything. And there's Amelia. She's genuinely treating villain. Don't get me wrong, okay? But compared to Megan, whose scariness came from this weirdly close, it's really, really weird actually, unsettling relationship with Kathy, Amelia just feels like a pretty standard action movie villain. She's impressive, but she's not that memorable. If that makes sense. That said, none of these are like deal breakers for me. The movie still knows exactly what kind of film it wants to be, and it delivers on that. So, before I wrap up, I just want to share what I actually took away from this movie because honestly, I wasn't expected to have this much depth. The biggest lesson for me is about the responsibility that becomes with creating something. Yullia brought M3GAN with good intention, but those intention alone weren't enough to prevent harm. And I feel like that's actually really relevant right now with now fast AI is developing in real life. There's also this whole theme about trust. Like Gamma spends the whole movie figuring out whether she can trust M3GAN again, even after everything that happened. And the movie doesn't give us simple yes or no answer. It shows that trust has to be rebuilt slowly. And that giving someone's or something a second chance doesn't mean ignoring what happened before. Honestly, that felt surprisingly mature for an action comedy movie. And lastly, there's Katie growth throughout the movie. She grew up being protected by an AI, but by the end, she's the one protecting herself and others using her own thinking. And that kind of reminded me that it's okay to rely on others, but building your own confidence matters just as much. So yeah, overall, M3GAN 2.0 gave me a lot more to think about than I expected. And honestly, I'm glad my friend convinced. I'm glad my friend convinced me to watch it, even if I did have to sleep with the lights on afterward. Mm, I think that's all that I can talk about today. I hope my review is good. Thank you so much for listening and goodbye.